cracking with your snack and snacker stars? It's Brandon from the sAs, the Snack Food Appreciation Society, coming at you once again for Pizza Night. Tonight, somebody's gone ahead and trying to reinvent the wheel. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll find out and more right after this on a Frozen Friday edition of Pizza Night. Coming at you. Never fear, Pizza Night is once again here, back at sAs headquarters, so grab yourself a can of beer for Friday night, April the 8th, 2016. Just because I catnap with my eyes open doesn't mean I'm paranoid. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Anyway, I'm back here once again, like I said, once again to try something that I may have tried in the past, or at least a type of this pizza. It's Totino's Party Pizza. This one's the classic pepperoni, and when I say classic, it's classic for two reasons, because they have another pepperoni one that has little tiny diced up pepperonis on it. That's just called pepperoni. This one's classic pepperoni, okay? And also because it comes in the classic box. And you're going to say, Brandon, that's not the classic box. That's the same box they've been using for the last couple of years, right? Well, exactly, except for they don't use a box anymore. As of just recently, they've decided to go to, boom, a bag, or a plastic pouch, if you will. And they've made the pizzas square rather than circular. They claim that it is the same amount of pizza with less packaging. Well, actually, it's more pizza because that's 10.7 ounces, and then this one is 9.8 ounces. Anyhow, take a look at them side by side. It looks like the square one would be smaller. I got the combination here on the square one, A, because I tried the combination on the circular one before, and B, well, because they didn't have anything but the combination in the sack. Both of these were $1.52 at Target. The combination, by the way, has those little mini diced up pepperonis I was telling you about, plus sausage. And you know why there's a difference between classic pepperoni and these? Because those are called pizza topping rather than pepperoni. They're pizza topping with pepperoni seasoning. That always cracks me up. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do now is take both of these out of the box and show you what they look like right after I tell you what the cooking instructions are, which both say to heat the oven to 450 degrees. I've got that going on right now in the kitchen with the brand new oven. We've got crisper crust and softer crust instructions. Put it on a baking sheet for a softer crust. That'll be 14 to 16 minutes. Put it right on the pizza, rather the oven grate, if you want it crispier, for 11 to 13 minutes. I think it's pretty much the same on this one. Yeah, 450, except for they say 11 to 12 minutes, and they're not even giving you any choice between softer. Oh yeah, they are. Down in the tip section there. Anyway, alright guys, let me go ahead and get these things out of the box and I'll show you what they look like. Alright, I've got them out of their respective packaging. This one, of course, was in a box, and as you can see, it also has some cellophane wrapper still left on. This one over here didn't have any other extraneous wrapping at all, but it does have the quote-unquote pizza topping with pepperoni seasoning, whatever that means. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and plop these bad boys in the oven for 10 or more minutes and see what happens. We'll be right back on Pizza Night. Alright gang, I am back here on Pizza Night. Let's see what we got out of the oven with these Totino's Party Pizzas. Again, $1.52 for each of these at Target. One in the sack and one in the box. The one in the box is the round one, the one in the sack is the square one. As we already know, they were in the oven for about a total of 11 minutes. I checked them both after 9 minutes, decided I made the unilateral decision here that they needed to go a little bit longer. So I went ahead and put them in for 2 more minutes, actually 3, checked them after 2. 11 minutes seemed to be the magic number here. Let's go ahead and take a look underneath. And yeah, it's starting to brown up a little bit there. Take a look at this side. And same thing happening there. So I'm glad I pulled them when I did. Alright guys, let me go ahead and take some slices off of these and show them to you. Alright, I've sliced them both up into 4 equal pieces. As you can see, I'm an artiste and went straight along that horizontal line right there. Alright, let me go ahead and pick up the 420 slice here on this one. Yeah, it got a little brown on the bottom, but what can you do, right? Show it to you, the cross section. Always one of the things about the Totino's crust is that it's got those little nooks and crannies on the inside, because it's like basically two very thin layers of dough, and they tend to bubble up and so forth, kind of like in the illustration there. That's one of the unique things about Totino's, and one of the things that actually some people are drawn to. I'm not so sure that I am, but we'll find out in a bit. Now let me take a look at this one. Yes, it's a little bit brown as well on that. Same thing going on with the crust sides. Nothing really to see here. Now I went ahead and counted how many of the little pizza toppings with pepperoni seasoning there were on here. There is a grand total of 18. They really splurged on me today. Alright guys, I'll be right back to take a bite of each of these, let you know what I think about them, which one I like better and more on Pizza Night. Alright gang, I'm back here on Pizza Night, taking a look at both varieties of Totino's pizza. The circular one that comes in a square box, and the one that comes in a sack. You know what? I was thinking that the one that came in the sack would probably fall apart and break and be a little more susceptible to that sort of thing. This one hasn't shown evidence of that, so far so good. I mean, the other one being bound up in plastic and then put in a box seems like it had more protection, but it doesn't seem to be an issue here. Alright, apparently Totino's also has a graphic that they want to show you that explains exactly why they're using the rectangular pizza or square pizza and the bag, and I'll show that to you real quick. That's pretty sound reasoning if you ask me. Anyway, I got both of these out of the oven. They basically smell like frozen pizza. I mean, you know, this is what we had back in like the early 80s, man. We didn't have, you know, Freschetta and DiGiorno and, God forbid, Screamin' Sicilian or something like that. We had Totinos, we had Tony's, and we had Mama Celeste, and we were happy about it. And then Tombstone came along and was a little bit of an upgrade, but not that much. Until the very late 80s, we started seeing things like DiGiorno, and then Freschetta came, I think, in the 90s or something like that, and then more premium brands emerged. But this is what we thought was frozen pizza back in the day, and yes, it is technically like pizza, but, you know, doesn't always taste like pizza. Let me go ahead and try the classic pepperoni first. I'll rate both and let you know which one I like better and whether I'd go back to one or the other or not. Let me take a bite. While not terrible, one could never ever accuse these little things of being overly flavorful. Not a ton going on in terms of wowing the palate here. Very, very pedestrian. For $1.52, what do you want? I mean, like I was saying, technically it is pizza. There is a base that's made of a grain-type material that some could call a crust. There is a liquid on there that some may call a sauce. There's a covering over there that some may call a cheese. And there's topping on there that you may call meat or whatever else you put on your pizza. But to me, all of it basically tastes the same. It's all one amalgamous kind of thing that just kind of congeals together into this pizza flavor, which is, again, not overly powerful. It's not very salty. The sauce really doesn't have much of a flavor outside of being just a little bit of, like, I don't know, your Chef Boyardee style or Franco-American style tomato sauce with a little oregano in it or something like that. Certainly not great. The cheese has no flavor, but it kind of crisps up as it cooks because, first of all, there's not a ton of it and it doesn't seem to have a lot of moisture in it, so it becomes dry as you cook it. And that creates an interesting texture with that sort of flaky crust that they have going on underneath. And then there's the pepperoni, which this is classic pepperoni. Has no zinger zip, not much going on. But for $1.52, would I eat it again in a pinch? Hell yeah. And I'd probably go ahead and give it like a 5/8 of a thumbs up. Despite almost everything I had to say about it being negative, it's very familiar tasting. It's not terrible, it's not bad. I'd eat it if I were drunk. I'd eat it if it was just sitting there and somebody said, hey, you want a slice of this pizza? I'd say, yeah, why not? Or I guess you can't really call these little nubs a slice, but you get what I'm saying. Alright, so 5/8 of a thumbs up on the classic pepperoni in the classic box, in the classic shape from Totinos. Let me go ahead and pick up This piece right here of the square Mama Jamma doesn't feel any less dense, maybe a little heavier overall. I'm not real sure. I got one that actually has 3 of the little pepperoni toppings on them, or pizza toppings with pepperoni seasoning. So let me go ahead and take my first bite there. I taste almost no difference in the flavor of those pizzas, guys. The only thing I will say is that the square one, for whatever reason, seems to have a bit more sauce on it. It's a bit more moist underneath the cheese in that sauce area. You know, a little bit more the way you would expect a pizza to be in that aspect. But the flavor doesn't change. And even having predominantly sausage versus pepperoni on this one doesn't seem to change the overall flavor balance much either, than being a little bit saltier, just a little bit saltier. The square slices don't really change my opinion about any of it. Pretty much the same thing here. Nothing more to see. Move along. Everything tastes the same, no different. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a half of a thumb up though, because I don't really taste sausage on there, and I certainly don't taste pepperoni seasoned pizza topping. Yeah, so that one gets the 5/8 thumbs up. That one gets the half of a thumb up. Would I buy both of them again? Probably so. I would go ahead and pick the classically shaped and classically packaged round pizza as my favorite of the two, however, only technically by just a little fraction there. But either way, you know, you want to give your kid a cheap pizza, you want to eat this for breakfast or something like that, just for a quick, you know, 500 or 600 calories or whatever it is, go right ahead and do it. Nobody's watching but me, just like you're watching me. Anyway, thanks for watching, and thanks for being a part of the SAS if you are already. If you are not, become a member of us by clicking on the link down below in the description. Hundreds of the coolest people in the whole world are in our group, and you should be too. Why aren't you? Also, follow me on Twitter at BrandonReichSAS. Also, the same handy handle on Instagram. On either one of those platforms, make sure you use the hashtag SnackSociety all day, every day, to make sure you learn all the things you need to know about the snacking news, and we need to know and learn to know what you're doing in your snacking world as well. Also, do all the things you need to do to help the channel grow. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe. And in the meantime, in between time, I don't see the difference. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.